Hello there, welcome back to our show. Today we're going to do what we call Beautiful Pulp, which is wonderful little B movies that came and went, didn't get much attention, and but are definitely worth seeing. They've got a feel to them that's nice to watch. It's like just one of those things. These are really enjoyable films. They're all about 90 minutes long. None of them are too long. A lot of them just get dumped by the producers because it was like, well, we don't know what to do with this. There's only one in them that actually made money. That was the most recent one. And I'm amazed because it feels like a cult film that the studio knew what to do with. And that's Crawl, which is a Sam Raimi produced film. And it kind of came out just before the COVID thing happened. And I think it was just a case of the studio collected this as a fun film and they put it at the right time and promoted it right. But if at any other time in history, it probably would have been dumped. Because it's one of those films that feels like the rest of these kind of culty, pulpy films. It's just good. It has that feel to it, but it was actually properly released, which did not happen in the rest of these films. Alright, so the four films I'm talking about is The Prophecy, Crawl, Rogue, and Below. So The Prophecy is the first one I'm talking about. This is the Christopher Walken film, which was made in the mid-90s, running about the same time as Pulp Fiction. You've got Eric Stoltz in it, who's also in Pulp Fiction. And it's about heaven and hell. It's written and directed by the guy who wrote the original script of The Highlander. And it has that same feel of fantastical events happening in our world. This TV show in Good Omens feels very similar to this one in the sense that it's like try to stop Armageddon, try to stop the angels and the devils from fighting one another. But this one has the great advantage of this one has Christopher Walken as Angel Gabriel. Now there's two great Angel Gabriel performances in film. There's this, and there's in Constantine with Tilda Swinton. And both of them are in pulpy films that didn't get a lot of respect. But it was one of those things where they cast a really good actor and just let them go. Just let them be themselves as Angel Gabriel. And this one is Walken, who hates human beings. He calls them monkeys. And he hates them because God has forsaken the angels after the wars in heaven and has viewed the humans as the ones with souls and who are deserving of his attention. So that's the issue for Walken. He just wants to find the most awful warrior, the soul of the most awful warrior, and take it to lead the war against heaven, to take over heaven. And that's his motivation throughout the film. And this soul was found by Eric Stoltz, who's an angel. He took it and then he put it into a little girl who's an Indian before he was killed by Walken. And basically, Elias Koteas in one of his early performances, while he's still kind of learning the ropes as an actor, to be honest, it's not his most assured performance. He's still kind of, this was just after he was in Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it was well before he was, Thin Red Line, Crash. This was much more trying to be normal performance, and he was a bit young. He looks a bit younger. I think this film was shot and then released a few years later. That's why I feel as someone who was on the shelf for a while. So him and Virginia Madsen. I'm not sure if this was shot before or after Candyman, but it's that kind of period Candyman, Highlander 2 period for her as well. So a lot of actors who were about to go on and do some really good stuff and who had a couple of dodgy credits in the past. So they're trying to protect a girl from Walken. And essentially Walken keeps on bringing these other character actors up to play his human guides. These are all people who are trying to commit suicide, and Walken catches them just before they die with their life in their body, and he just blackmails them into helping them until they're murdered. And first is Adam Goldberg, who's hilarious. Just he hates Walken, and he is like he's just this neurotic Jewish guy who just loves walking. It's great fun, just how much he hates it, how much he's begging for death. And then Amanda Plummer turns up as an ODing drug addict who also is wanting death, and Walken just torturing her, like, mentally, to do his bidding. Like, Walken's having a great time in this film. He's wandering around setting people on fire, saying these bizarre speeches and just looking creepy, and talking to children as if he's their old uncle or something. He's just so good in this film. He's having a ball. And everyone else is having fun. I mean, you have Viggo Mortensen showing up well before Lord of the Rings. You know, he's showing up as, you know, this is basically Lucifer. And he does not want to warn heaven because he says there's already a hell, and one hell's enough. And he's like eating, you know, roses, and he's an amazing Lucifer. He's one of the great devils of cinema. If enough people had seen this film, basically him and Walken are pretty much they're just taking this film over. And everyone else is having a good time. Everyone seems to be enjoying themselves. It's one of those films where it's just a blast. It's a B movie. They've got some ridiculous things in it. They've got some bizarre notions. But there is a sense of the biblical, and there is a sense of the strange. Because, I mean, Curtis was a priest, or trying to become a priest, and he left before he was ordained and became a cop. So he's got religious knowledge. That means he's getting dragged into this, because he's the only guy who can understand half the meanings. There's different chapters that were in the Bible, but actually weren't in the official Bible and stuff like that, you know, and it's just a blast. It's just so wonderful. I'd highly recommend watching it. It just goes on and on. It's 90 minutes, and it's just scene after scene of crazy stuff. So even if you have a kind of scene that seems a bit dull, don't worry. In about 5 minutes' time, there's going to be something insane happening. It's that kind of film. There's, like, even though it's a bit wayward in how from scene to scene because it's shot low budget, there's always going to be something amazing coming like 5 minutes down the line. There's always something going to happen. So that's the first one. That's Prophecy. Then we've got the I'll go to Below now because that's the submarine film. Then I'll get to two Croc films. Below is a film directed by David Towie. It was partially written by Darren Aronofsky. It was dumped by the studio that made it, Dimension. You know, the Weinstein brothers. What a shocker. They dumped a film that was good. And basically what it is it's about is certain noise. There's some idiot in a motorbike going round and round. You know. So, they're in a submarine. They find these survivors of a sunken ship that was sunk by the Germans, and they bring them below, and the idea was they're going to take them once they've avoided this ship that's hunting them. They'll take them to port, and then they can report the German submarine sunk them. Of course, there's something else going on. I mean, Bruce Greenwood is acting captain. Now, the captain has died in mysterious circumstances, and all his top people are slowly getting knocked off one by one. You know, and the submarine just there's something up the submarine, and things are going wrong slowly but surely. And these survivors are getting very suspicious. One of them is played by Olivia Williams, then you've Dexter Fletcher's another one. You've also Jason Fleming as one of the guys who are on the sub. You have a lot of British actors with American accents. I mean, you have Christopher Fairbanks from VC and Pet as well, with an American accent. With all of these actors with these accents. And so you've got a lot of character actors in there. You have Bruce Greenwood, who's always good fun, and he's got a kind of lead part, and he's a bit dodgy at the same time. His character's a bit off. And it's like a what happened thing. You know, I'm not going to say what happened. I'm trying to encourage you to go watch it. This is going to be the briefest of them all, because I'm just trying to get you to watch it. Things go weird to this film, but it's very enjoyable. It's a very enjoyable pulp film. with lots of, like, what I've described is just basically the first 20 minutes, really. Then things happen. And other things happen. You know, it's not the most surprising film, but it's really well done. And it was dumped basically because the studio wanted to cut it to make it PG-13, and the film was an R, and they wanted to keep in the scary bits. So they dumped the film, which is just crazy. A studio could be that petty, but apparently they were. So, there we go. So that's Below. Below is definitely worth seeing. It's the kind of opposite of the props. The Prophecies are a wonderful mess of crazy ideas with a weird structure. Below is very structured, probably to a fault, but it is very structured and has a beginning, middle, and end. It's an old school. It's basically an old school ghost story and set in a submarine. So that's the kind of difference to this one, but it is really well done and it is definitely worth seeing. So now we're going to go into the two crocodile films. I'll start with the earlier one, Rogue, and then I'll go to Crawl. Rogue's the final one of this series was a bomb. This one came and went pretty quick. People thought it was going to do well because the guy who directed Wolf Creek. But the film had money spent on it. It was well produced, well written. For this kind of movie, a B movie, it was well done in every way, and no one cared. Just no one went to see. No one was interested in a killer crocodile movie at the time. Just one of those things. It's like you can do the best you can, and no one's interested at the time. It's got a better reputation since then. I think people have started to see it since then on video and things. But it's set in the outback of Australia, and it looks gorgeous. Basically, we go to a reporter who does these travel pieces, and he's in the outback for a day. So he goes on a tour through the rivers of this boat with Rita Mitchell's character. She runs the boat. She's been there since she was a kid. And there's all these other tourists who are also there. You have one guy who his wife's died. There's one guy who's a photographer. You've got a husband and wife team. You've got a family where the mother's ill. Just a bunch of people and a bunch of other ones as well. Everyone's got a lot of character beats. And as they're about to turn around to go back, they see a flare go off in the distance. And of course, because of the rules, they have to go and investigate it. Because it could be someone in trouble. So they go in an area where they don't normally go. They normally stop in the ride because that next bit is more difficult terrain, so they try and avoid it. But they go there in case someone's in trouble. And they find a boat that's been overturned. So obviously they've been attacked, and then that boat gets attacked. And basically they crash on an island, this little island bit within the outback with the lake around it. And the water's rising, so at a certain point their land is going to become very, very little, and they kind of have to get over to the other side to safety so they can basically run like hell and get away from the river. Unfortunately, they've got a massive crocodile there, and they're in its lair basically. And basically, obviously, the other boat went in there, was in its lair too, and that's probably caused all the problems. So it's basically the alligators there too are going to start eating them and take them to its lair so you can eat them later on. Because, keep snacks for later. Don't overstuff yourself, as the rule of a crocodile. So basically it's about them trying to get off this island area, avoiding the crocodile. Another boat comes from their flare, and that's Sam Worthington, well before Avatar. They get attacked. Worthington survives. His pal doesn't. So he's stuck with them as well. And then from then on, it's a case of people getting knocked off one after another. And, and them trying to get to the other side. And there's lots of nice little details. Like, they have plans, and some of those plans work, and some do not. And I'm not going to tell you anything else. The film has been over 10 years. There's a good chance you haven't seen it. So, if you want a good crocodile movie, Rogue is definitely it. Because you've got some sympathetic characters. People do not deserve to be where they are. People get killed that you'd think would survive. You know, people get messed up in ways you would not expect. And, you know, it's quite brutal. You've got a young Mia Wachowski as a teenage actress here. You've got a couple of people whose face you'll recognise. Ryder Mitchell, you'll recognise from lots of films. She's really good. She's very good in these kind of movies. She's in Pitch Black. She's in a lot of genre films. She's always good. So that one is a really enjoyable film, Rogue. So I definitely recommend it. Finally, we have the Crawl, which was the one film that made money. It was produced by Sam Raimi. Directed by Alexander Aja, who did Piranha as well. And this is, like the other ones, it's a very short film. This is probably the shortest films. And it takes place in a hurricane. Basically, the hurricane's going to hit. A swimmer finds that her father is not answering his phone. And they have to try and see if he's okay, because he's just been through a divorce. And they're worried that he's taken it badly and want to make sure he gets out of there before the hurricane hits. So even though she's not meant to do it, she drives there anyway. She doesn't want to do it, but because of estranged a little bit because of the divorce, she does it. She goes there, can't find him at his house, goes to the old house before she gives up, and that's where she finds him trapped. He's been injured by a alligator, and it turns out there's lots of alligators around their old house. Because of this hurricane, the bank is broken, they're now in the house, and so they're in the cellar with these alligators, trying to avoid getting eaten, trying to stay in places where the alligators can't get to. And that's the film, for like 90 minutes, for 85 minutes actually. So it's her and, you know, her father, you know, that's it. That's the story. And it's really well done. Because you've got like someone who knows what they're doing, you've Sam Raimi producing, he knows what he's doing. So you get some fun scares, you get some fun bits of humour within the dark situation. So even though it's a grim situation, people will turn up to be eaten throughout the film as well. And you have the problem with the, you know, it's the hurricane too. So you've got lots of interesting stuff going on. And it's just really well done. It's a wonderfully well done film. Like Rogue, it's another well done alligator movie. You know. So between these two and the original Alligator, you know, you'd have a really good time. You won't kill alligators. But the good thing was, in Rogue, it was one big alligator. And this one is just normal sized alligators who are all around this area. And it's flooding slowly. And they're not in a good situation. And the stakes escalate slowly. So, it's just a fun time. It really is a fun movie. There's no depth to it, but there's stuff about her trying to, because she's lacking self-confidence because she's a swimmer. She's lacking self-confidence because of the divorce. There's stuff like that, but that's basically like 2 minutes of the plot. It's like every so often, I believe in you. Okay, we've done that, but now we can get back to the alligator. Yep, cool. There's someone who you killed here around the corner. It's that kind of movie. It knows you want a lot about character stuff, but you don't need that much. And that's what all these films seem to understand is you need some character stuff to get you through the next section. You need some character stuff to make you interested and attached. But you don't need to overdo it, because it's a genre movie, and you kind of want the genre stuff. And all these films understand what movie they are, that you hire good character actors to play these parts. You don't hire stars, you hire character actors, and just let them do their thing, and it'll be fine. You know, you hire decent directors, get some good character actors, get decent effects, but don't need to spend a fortune on them, and you're good. So all 4 of these films I'd highly recommend. They're all enjoyable. They've all got their charms. They've all got some nasty little moments, and all got funny moments. So they're epitome of really good, solid B movies. You know, not films you're going to see this is an amazing film, but films you recommend to friends. Just see this one, that's a good fun. So that's 4 films I'm recommending if you want a fun time with a B-movie, genre movie situation. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That's me for now. Bye.